What is going on, guys? Today I bring you part 2 of my ultimate needs to become great, even though it's kind of more like a everything wrong with series, but I'm too deep at this point. Anyways, today I want to talk about gameplay things specifically, and the two main categories I'm going to focus on are the buffer system and movement in general. So starting off with the buffer system, just some general things to note. People thought that the buffer window was like really big in this game, but it's actually not. Some people thought it was like 20, some people thought it was like 40, but those are just misconceptions. Because there are actually two different buffer systems in the game. One of them, which I only need to briefly touch upon because it's not as important, is the hit buffer, which is the regular buffer that's in Brawl and Smash 4. The only difference is that it's 9 frames instead of 10 like it was in Brawl and Smash 4. So it is the same buffer window. The reason it's different is because of the second buffer system, which is called the hold buffer. And this is in a lot of different games, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time it's been in Smash. And basically what a hold buffer is if you hold a button during an input or during like the end lag of a move, it'll buffer that as you're holding it. So a practical use that I've found for it is if you have a combo throw that requires a full hop, you just hold jump during the throw and you'll get a full hop buffered immediately. And since full hopping is weird in this game, it's actually kind of helpful. So an example is like this with Wolf. There. I held jump during, like I'm holding jump now. Nope. I'm holding jump now, and it still buffered the jump. It's it's pretty lenient, but as you could see, it wasn't the entire time because I screwed it up that one time, but it's pretty reliable if you practice it. That's the only practical application that has, though. A lot of the time, the hold buffer really screws people over. And this is why a lot of times you'll, like, accidentally air dodge to your death directionally. The main offender to this is probably, like, multi-hit up Bs that you're not sure when they're going to end, but they can also stage spike you, like Roy's up B. That can stage spike you with literally any hit, and when he snaps to ledge, you're not sure when it ends. So if you get hit by it, you just press L, right? Or you press your shield button, hoping to tech. And most of the time you're DIing, which is why you'll buffer a directional air dodge and die if you fall out of it. And that's really annoying. But honestly, what it comes down to is it only buffers it as long as you hold the input. So if you directional air dodge to your death, it's because you held the shield button too long. And it really sucks to know that it's technically on you and not on the game, but that's just kind of the way it is. And hold buffer is kind of annoying, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately. The other weird part about the buffering system in this game is in regards to doing short hop aerials during your end lag, or inputting them during your end lag. Excuse me. So basically, I noticed this right when I started playing this game, by the way. There would be some times where I would be doing like short hop aerials, and then it would buffer something I didn't mean to do. Like that nair I didn't mean to do. It was supposed to be another forward air. And there would be some times where I would even get like a back air when I'm trying to do a retreating forward air. And I finally found out why. And it's because if you are in landing lag from a move, from an aerial, and you try to do a short hop aerial with a C-stick like I do, and a lot of people do, the game only recognizes your left stick input and uses that to determine which aerial you're doing for some reason. So let me see if I can demonstrate this with Wolf, and then I'll see if I can demonstrate it with like a hand cam. My setup's weird, but I doubt it. Like that. So, I should probably explain what I'm doing. Basically, my goal is to use the end lag of my down air, and then try to do a short hop retreating forward air with my C-stick. I will be pressing forward on the C-stick, but back on my left stick, so left. And it'll do a back air, because it only recognizes the left stick input. Even though I'm pressing forward on the C-stick, since I'm pressing left on the left stick, it'll input a back air. So let me see if I can demonstrate this. Yeah. Now, let me see if I can get a hand cam of this shit. Alright, this is my first time trying this hand cam. My setup's weird, so please bear with me. Alright, check this out. There. I'll see if I can get it again to show you. Yeah. Alright, so hopefully you were able to see the inputs, and hopefully you understand why it's weird that it works that way. So basically, if I try to do a retreating fair with Wolf out of end lag, I really can't unless I do it manually by, like, curling my stick back and doing, like, a half circle back up. Oh my god, never mind. I have to do a really weird input to do a retreating fair normally without a C-stick, and it's just not as fluid as it should be, and that's a big problem for me and characters that like to throw out a lot of moves back to back to back, and you need to buffer them. It's really weird. I really hope it's a bug and that they can fix it, because I don't really see any reason that works. Like, why would they implement this? It's very strange. But anyways, I learned about that and a couple other parts of this buffering section from a Smashboards thread that I'll link in the description. It has a lot more information than what I said about buffering, but I only talked about what was necessary. The rest is kind of extra, but read all you want. So the next part that I want to talk about is movement. And this is a very big deal for me. I love being able to move. I love being fast. Being fast lets you do mix-ups. Having good movement lets you do mix-ups. And the main thing that sucks about the movement in this game is dash dancing. It's pretty bad. And you might be skeptical at first, but you have to understand that when you dash, unless you jump, you are locked into that dash animation for the entirety of it. You can't run and shield like you can in Smash 4, at least not as easily. Basically, you're just vulnerable the entire time unless you jump away. So, this is why you'll get hit by things like Inkling Random Roller, which is the side B, in neutral, because people just like to dash dance in neutral, and sometimes the game will buffer in extra random dash dances, which is another issue in itself, but you'll just be doing this, and since you can't shield, you'll react, but your instinct is to shield, and you can't. So, then you'll get hit by the roller, and you'll die at 100. Very fun, right? I really wish it was like Melee, where it was very free, and you could do this kind of stuff, but at any given point in your dash. And that would just make it so you can microspace a lot better, instead of being restrained to this clunky ass. It's more like a foxtrot than dash dancing, which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is. Also, because you can't shield during this dash animation, if you're playing against someone that's just doing this in neutral and trying to wait for a whiff punish or something, Inkling is a really good example of this, because their dash is amazing. But if they're just doing this, since they can't shield, one of your best options is actually just to run up and dash attack, because they can't shield, and it's just like a really fast burst option. So there's a little info for you. And the other thing I want to talk about is going through, or like passing through people in this game. Because when they revealed the game, they made kind of a big deal to showcase that you can't really run through people and certain moves won't go through opponents on block. And it's just kind of strange how it's not consistent. And by that I mean you have some dash attacks that will completely get stopped on shield, but then you'll have moves that just go through shield, like Wolf dash attack goes through shield, Snake dash attack goes through shield, Cloud jabs cross up on shield if you're point blank. It's just very inconsistent, and it kind of screws up a lot of people because they think, oh, you can't cross up on block unless you're doing an aerial, of course. So when someone does something like a Snake dash attack, they don't really know what side they're going to end up on, and that's kind of weird in a game that was promoted to not have that kind of cross-up grounded game. You can still cross up with aerials, of course, but having to deal with like a cross-up Cloud jab and not knowing which way you need to punish, unless you have like a good nair at a shield or something, it's just kind of obnoxious. And I really wish it was more consistent, because it feels like some characters have privilege and others do not. And I think this game is pretty fairly balanced, so I wish they would change this to make it more uniform. Like, make either everything go through, or nothing. Next thing I want to talk about is wave dashing and wave landing, which have probably been beaten to death by now by everyone else, but I still need to talk about it. If you didn't know, wave landing is just air dodging to the ground, or wave dashing is air dodging to the ground when you're already grounded to create space. It's a melee tech, but it's barely in this game because it sucks. It sucks for two reasons. The first being, if you directional air dodge to the ground, you have like 20 frames of landing lag, I think. And it's more than a regular air dodge. 20 frames is way too long, and you're not really going to mix someone up with 20 frames of landing lag. And the other reason is because the more you do an invincible option like this, the slower it becomes, and the less invincibility you'll have. The invincibility isn't a big deal, but the speed is a big deal, so you get less distance at a slower rate. It's bad. I would really like to see this become useful, because, I mean, being able to do everything out of dash is great, but if we actually had wave landing, or wave dashing, I'm sorry, like, that would be sick. Even though you in this game you just have to do that. It would just give you more options to mix up your game. Wave landing is just when you are using wave, it's basically just wave dashing to land instead of to create space. So like if someone hits me up here, I would wave land here just to get grounded a little faster to gain some ground. Once again, the reason it sucks is you have 20 frames of landing lag. It's just slow. I mean, I still think wave landing is good. Well, it's usable in this game, but wave dashing is not. I would just like to see less landing lag on this. It's just hard to say. Because they designed directional air dodging as a escape card, but with a risk, because the 20 frames of landing lag is your risk. If I react to it, I get to punish you. Which is fair, but it just removes things like wave dashing from the game, unfortunately. Yeah, sucks. I would love to see it some kind of compromise, but I don't know how. I don't have an idea how. Just would be nice. One of the last things I want to talk about with movement is kind of nitpicking at this point, but it has to do with air dodging and teching. So, in this game, if you didn't know, They made it so you can directional air dodge into the ground when you're in like a tumble state, and then you'll actually tech. I guess they did it to make teching easier for some people, but... And I agree, it's kind of nice sometimes if you take advantage of it, but there are some times where it screwed me over. Like, there was a time where I was trying to recover, and I was in tumble, and I tried to, like, air dodge to the ledge, but I air dodged into the side, like, there where my blaster shot, and it gave me a side tech, and I genuinely wasn't ready for it, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab onto the ledge, and I'm gonna buffer a jump, or buffer a ledge roll, right? But what ended up happening was I buffered a side tech and then an air dodge, and I died. And it was just because I messed up some kind of like pixel perfect spacing where that would happen. But it's just so strange. That's just my personal experience, though. I doubt people have had that much issue with it. But it screwed me over, so I'm salty about it. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is dropping through platforms after you're getting hit on them. For some reason, it just feels very sluggish when you want to punish an attack from below with like a drop-down aerial. It's just very strange. Even on parry, it seems to be very sluggish. How you like try to fall through. A lot of times you'll just duck, and it's very frustrating. I'm gonna see if I can demonstrate this with like some item crap. So bear with me until then. There. I held down that entire time. I was like mashing down pretty much, and as you could see, it took me like 10 years after Shield Stun to even attempt to fall through. I'm gonna try again, but with like a less powerful shot. It's just... alright, I'm getting it because I'm used to it now, but I had to like mash it 3 times there. As you can see, the first time I just kind of ducked, and this is in a controlled setting, mind you. In a real match, I mess this up all the time for some reason, even on parry, and it's just super frustrating. I honestly don't know if it's some kind of placebo or if I'm just bad. I don't know, but it feels weird, and I felt like I could do anything I wanted in Smash 4, but in this game I feel very limited when I get into block stun. But basically, that's it for the gameplay section. Next part, I'll talk about design choices in terms of like UI, balancing, and just general stuff like that. So, hope you stick with me until then. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Have a nice day.